Welcome to the Emporia Public Schools podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Allison Anderson Harder, Superintendent. This podcast is our way to provide students, staff, parents, and community members easy access to information on a variety of topics. Once you've listened to an episode, we encourage you to use the electronic link to provide feedback or ideas about the episode to which you just listened to, or to share ideas for future episodes. Today, I am visiting with our district security officers, Mr. Larry Clay, Mr. Willie Turner, and Mr. Todd Ayers. Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
Great to see everybody.
Afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So talk to us a little bit about your law enforcement background and how you came to work for Emporia Public Schools. So let's start with the one with the most seniority. Who would that be?
That would be me. So, I started with the school district in September of 12 and went full-time into the middle school in 13. So I've been with the school district now going on 11 school years. Before that, I was at the Emporia Police Department for 30. And before that, I was Wolf Creek Security for 9 months. So 42, 43 years.
Wow,
Total.
awesome. So 11 years here, so halfway through your tenure here, right?
No, ma'am.
Willie, we got 11 more years.
I don't see a second career coming out of this.
Always, every time Willie and I talk, I always have to make the plug. Okay.
Going to have to adopt a policy to where walkers are going to be allowed for the security guards.
That could be a new side business.
Exactly.
So how did you come to work for Emporia Public Schools?
Jeff Ilk was a security officer for the high school, and Jeff gave me a call, knew that I was retired, gave me a call and said that they was looking for somebody to at that time just cover the activities for the high school. So that's actually how I started, as I was considered part-time and only covered the activities through the high school. And then I got a phone call in January wanting to know if I would be willing to come in full-time as a security officer for the middle school. And I went ahead and took that option.
Well, we're very glad that you're here. All right, Larry, you're up next.
I came to work for the school district in October of 2013, which would be going on 11 years here. And prior to that, I worked for the Emporia Police Department for 21 years. And prior to that, I was a reserve deputy for Allen County Sheriff's Department for approximately 2 years. And how I came into this job was in 2013, Willie and Jeff had both contacted me, say, hey, they need somebody to cover activities. It was a part-time job at that point. I kind of waited for a little bit. Didn't know really whether I wanted to do it or not. Then they turned it into a full-time job, including elementary schools, and so that's where it went from there, and worked with Willie and Jeff both.
Awesome. Well, and Larry, we have a bang for your buck because we have your wife over at Jones Early Childhood Development Center as a teacher, so we're really excited to have her there.
Thank you.
All right, Todd, you're up next.
I was with EPD for about 27 years when I retired. And this is my third school year, so I came on in 2021. How I got into it was I seemed to always get calls out at the high school when I was on the police department, worked that area. So I got to know admin and I knew Jeff because I worked with Jeff Ilk for years along with these two guys. And all three of my kids went through the high school, so I've always kind of had a connection to it. So when the job finally came open and I retired, it just seemed like a good fit.
Awesome. Well, we are very, very grateful to have all of you here because not every school district is as fortunate to have the experience that all of you bring, and just your personalities. You're all very easy to get along with, and you know when to take things seriously and when to maybe just, adjust a response to it. So we appreciate that very much. What training have you had, and then what training do you continue to participate in? Todd, you just mentioned before about CPR.
I just took CPR through the district. With everything going on, I got the online stuff done pretty quick, but trying to get to the practicals, I got called away twice and finally finished up this summer with Jennifer. So with that, Willie is too. I still do part-time stuff for the Sheriff's Department, so I do whatever training they need done. We have mandatory training we have to go through every year to keep our law enforcement certification, so I participate in that. And And then I try to do as much online stuff as I can. But over the years at the police department, I was on the SWAT team, was a detective for a while, full-time bike officer. So haven't done it all and seen it all, but done quite a little bit for them. So I've had a lot of different specialized trainings over the years.
Usually in the spring, the Lyon County Sheriff's Department puts on a week-long training, and we kind of coincide with that. And that way, Todd and I keep our certifications going through the Sheriff's Department through those trainings. The school district itself puts on quite a bit of training that we are required to do. I kind of make fun because we have certified teachers, and I make fun because I have a whole lot more certifications than what they do. I probably have at least a half a dozen or more certifications, and during my law enforcement career, I also taught out at the state academy several times. So the teachers are not the only ones that are certified.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Larry?
Until just a few years ago, I also was involved in Safe Kids Worldwide, promoting seatbelt safety, car seat safety. That's where I was going to trainings probably every couple of years. Again, to reiterate, like Willie said, your CPR, and then also the Lyon County Sheriff's Department puts on their trainings. We went to some drug enforcement trainings just about 2 years ago, but it involves the education side of drug abuse and so on.
Then the school district sent me to a 3-day training out in McPherson for SRO, school resource officer, security kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I was jogging my memory about something else and then just kind of ended up on an empty path there. So let's talk about your duties as a security officer, and then what does a typical day look like? Whoever would like to start. Which we know a typical day is never typical.
No, it's each building, and it's its own little city basically. Mm-hmm. And you get there when you need to get there between 7:30 in the morning, and you have no idea what's going to happen. You might have a set schedule of stuff you try to get done. You may get to it, you may not. You just kind of deal with whatever happens to come up, or whatever the principals, admin, teachers, counselors need help with.
It's quite a variety. I mean, it's very much like the police department. We can't say when we go to work that we're going to do this today, because the people coming in the office can vary. We have building securities that we try to do as far as getting around and checking the doors, making sure that they're locked and secured. I know Todd does parking enforcement at the high school. He's the only one that does that. Larry has the other 5 buildings as far as grade schools, trying to get around to all of those. But just like setting this up, we had to reschedule, and then it almost was rescheduled again. And we really don't know what our day is going to be. It's just whatever comes in. And I have several people that I have had come into my office, and they visit reference to my law enforcement background on personal issues or issues that might be going on at home. So I try to give them some guidance or try to help them out doing that. I know that the admin a lot of times come in and ask questions as far as what would happen if this happened on the street or outside of the school district. How would that be perceived? How would that be handled, and so on and so forth. So we're in a way kind of a guidance counselor for kids, and another counselor for some of the adults in our building. And like Todd said, we're kind of a city within ourselves. If you put everybody that I've got together in the middle school, students, staff, admin, everybody, I've got usually over 1,000 people a day in my building. Todd's going to have between 1,250 and 1,300 people. We got cities in Lyon County that don't have that big of a population.
So it's pretty densely populated. We just do a little bit of everything. Specific duties, like he said, we check doors and make sure the building's secure. But it's whatever comes up. I kind of act as Willie does too, along with Larry, just kind of a liaison between the school district and law enforcement, since we all still have contacts and friends and everything else down there, and we're not too far removed from it with all the training that we get, that we can kind of answer questions and maybe not need police if you didn't have somebody there, that would be their only resource. So, I mean, I think we're really good as far as information and and being a real good liaison between the school district and law enforcement in the county.
And I don't think we call the law enforcement as often as we did before all three of us came on. I do know a time period that we had one particular building here in the district that we were getting calls all the time to come in. And then most of the time it was just, hey, can you answer a question for us? And we were utilized in that fashion. But with us being in the building, that is a resource that they can use rather than calling law enforcement, because they're going to get the same answers, basically.
And one of the other things I work quite a little bit of, and I don't know if Willie does that much, is I work traffic accidents. If they're happening in our parking lot, even the dispatch 911 center, if they're busy and somebody calls, they had an accident in the parking lot, they said, call Todd, he'll take care of it. And so I usually work all the wrecks, 90% of the wrecks in the parking lot. And we don't have very major ones. They're just little fender benders, but that frees up law enforcement as well to do other things than coming out something that I can handle very much on my own.
We don't have student drivers in our parking lot.
You do not.
And one of the things that these guys, they help me out from time to time, but we also work the activities.
Yeah.
Basketball, football, soccer, wrestling, and so on. Basically anywhere where there's a bigger crowd, there's always one of us around. These guys have been very gracious in helping me out. It gets sometimes overwhelming, as many activities we do have during a week. So,
Well, we're very thankful that you come to board meetings. And when you rotate that, there was a little bit of more drama during COVID and right after that, but things seem to have settled down, and we like how things are right now and appreciate your presence there as well.
Yeah, no problem.
And I will just tell you, I was a staff member before you all came on, and we did have security guards, but the training would vary a lot, and so you feel much more secure with all of you here, and to bringing the training and the experience that you have, we very much appreciate all of that. I know our principals appreciate that too. Talk about how does the district, well, we talked a little bit already about how the district partners with the EPD. What are some other ways that there's some partnerships?
I mean, probably about the only agency that we really don't deal with is ESU Police. They just they really have no jurisdiction out there, and we don't really have a reason to call them. We work with the Lyon County Sheriff's Department. I probably work with them more than the other guys do, but I don't work with them on a regular basis since most of the kids that come to the school live in town. So it's usually Emporia PD that responds to that, unless they're busy, and then I might have a deputy come out and respond. But
I say most of the time that I've ever called a deputy is because of a situation that didn't happen during school time period. It happened at home, and they lived in the county. So in that retrospect, we don't call PD, we call the county, because it didn't happen within the city. So we have to call the sheriff's department.
And we have real good rapport with the 911 center, and then when the ambulance or the fire trucks have to come out, we still get along with those guys, so we get to interact with them and help them with whatever they need help out with. So
Great. Well, what is your favorite part about being a district security officer?
For me, I would say the saddest, because we all work the high school graduation. So I've got them in my building for 3 years, and then they go to high school for 4 years. So I don't necessarily see all of those kids, but at high school graduation, you get to see some of the faces and get to see their rewards as far as completing their education and being able to go on into what they want to do. That's, to me, that's probably the biggest satisfaction, is seeing the accomplishments of the kids after they're done with the school here. I would say that for me, that's probably the biggest accomplishment.
Go ahead.
that would, I kind of agree with Willie, but I get them longer than that. See, I get to see them when they're just young, and then I see them go through middle school and high school, watch them, and then they graduate, and knowing that they've accomplished something.
Just in the 3 years that I've been out, the one thing I like is just the variety of work that we get to do especially at the high school level, just different situations that I get to deal with. I enjoy that. I haven't had the experience yet because I'm only going on my third year, so my incoming freshmen are now just going to be seniors next year. So, but seeing some of the incoming freshmen, you can just see the maturity level. That's fun to watch as they start kind of growing up and figuring things out. Especially since they have the law enforcement and the law tract at the high school, I really enjoy interacting with those kids. They have questions or they have interest in law enforcement or in the criminal justice systems. I know people to get them in contact with. I helped one young lady last year get a job with the sheriff's department and being a detention officer because she really wants to get into law enforcement, but she can't do it until she's 21, so she had to have some years to do. So I was able to get her a job at the
That's
jail.
great.
So, and talked to her teacher, Miss Livingston, today, and she's doing absolutely wonderful and loving it as far as I know.
Ah, that's awesome.
We're also kind of a mentor with a lot of the kids and stuff. It's I know when we worked at the police department, they used to tell us that 10% of your population was 90% of your problems, and that's kind of really coincides with the school setting as well. You know, I've got kids that are in my building for 3 years. I don't know who they are. I don't know their names. They never come in my office. I have no connection with them whatsoever. And I got other kids that are walking away from a camera, and I know who they are.
Yeah, it's same. I got, it's 1,300 kids in my building, and there's just a few handful that I know, not for the best reasons on the planet, and then there's a handful that I know for, better reasons. But I always get a good response from everybody. I've never really had any major issues.
Yeah. Well, and I've seen you all in action, and you always have great relationships with kids. Whether you know them or not, you're always very welcoming and always very supportive of everybody. Larry, anything that you want to add to that?
No. To me, it's about relationships with the students. That says a lot. You can build those relationships. It goes a long ways.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Building that trusting relationship. Well, thank you all for being here. And thank you again for being here as licensed, certified employees. And so we really very much appreciate that. Is there anything that you would like to add that we haven't talked about?
No, nothing I can think of.
I think you pretty well covered most of the fundamentals of what we do and
All
how we
right.
do things. So,
Well, good. Well, that's a big thanks to Lindell.
Yep.
Yeah, you did a good job.
Yep, you did.
Well, thank you for being here. We will end on our Emporia Public Schools mission statement. We engage, we empower, we inspire. Thank you for listening, and watch for upcoming episodes.